I am reminded of the resurrection morning. It is written in the scripture, on that last day, the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised. Let's look back at the first one, the firstborn of the brethren, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. On the third day, there was a quake. The soldiers standing guard fell for fear. The stone of the grave was rolled back. And the resurrected one left his burial clothing folded, decency and order. The resurrected one. We have the foretaste of the resurrected. Job said, I know that my Redeemer liveth. The dead shall be raised. His resurrection was so real that day. First person to see him, no one believed her, and the Lord rebuked his own disciples with their unbelief. I will conjecture she was the first woman preacher of the resurrection of Jesus the Christ. Peter and John went to see the tomb, and it was empty. And it was empty. And the disciples did not believe Mary, nor did the disciples really believe Peter or John that the tomb was empty. That evening of his resurrection, he was so solid, so real, that Jesus, the resurrected one, walked through the very walls where the disciples were. And to prove to them he was not a spirit, that they were just seeing a vision or a spirit, he ate something with them, the resurrected. Our hope is sure. If he is not resurrected, our hope is in vain. But I assure you, he, Jesus of Nazareth, is resurrected. And we know this for certain, for he dwells in the hearts of men this day. We know this for certain. He gathered, more than 500 men gathered around him the day of his ascension, 40 days after his resurrection. And he commanded them to tarry in Jerusalem till the promise of the Father was given. And 10 days later, the Jewish festival of Pentecost, some call it in church calendars today Whit Sunday, the promise of the Father came. However, under 120 actually tarried to see the promise. We know this is true because of various records in the days of Rome and the various records of Jewish contention over his resurrection. Something happened. Should you invite this Jesus into your very being and change your ways and admit your shortcomings and admit that you too are full of rebellion, only he can give you a new nature, resurrected. I invite you this day to consider him, Jesus